Hey, welcome to Ms.Interpretations. Oh, hi, it's allergy season. Welcome to Ms.Interpretations. My name is Marin, and this is my virtual campfire. And I'm so happy to have Maya Atkinson here today. Hey,
Hey,
Maya.
everybody!
Yay, from
Oh,
Bad
it's so good.
Science Sunday. Woo, woo, woo.
Look at all these people.
I
Oh, I'm
know, this is so
excited.
great. Y'all, thanks for coming. This is
Yeah.
fun.
See, and we were like, well, Dapper's on and nobody's going to want to see us. But like, everybody's been, yeah, I love this community. They are just so, I don't know.
They're fun. They're just so much
Yeah,
fun.
awesome.
Yep.
And I am the goddess of awesomeness. So I deem you all awesome.
Yes. Yay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And all of you. So there you go. It's the M&M stream. That's right. That's
I
right.
don't know if I've like officially congratulated you on hitting 500, but woot!
I know.
Hey,
Look, that's a thumbs up for me. Is it coming
two
up?
thumbs
Coming up?
up. Oh,
Yay.
yeah,
That's two thumbs up.
mine
Thank
doesn't do
you.
that.
Yeah, it's the Mac. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
feature on the
gotcha.
FaceTime
Evil
thingy. So
apple.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Tommy accepts your blessing. So
Blessings of awesomeness.
yeah.
Awesome blessings to you all.
So you need no introduction, but please tell us about yourself. The elevator pitch, because we steal every great idea from you, Maya.
You and the humanity. My name is Maya Atkinson. You can find me at Maya Atkinson. Channel name is Bad Science Sunday. So every Sunday at 9:30 Eastern, for 2 hours ish, we combat different types of science misinformation on the internet. And I say we, my co host is Dr. Michael Vandergraff, who goes by Vandy, who is an IRL PhD atomic physicist. Um,
Don't do it. Don't do it, Kip. Don't do it. This is my channel.
Marin does not like when we say astrophysicist, so we're not going to say astrophysicist. Certainly not when we're talking about Dr. Vandy.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, yeah.
He's also Dr. Tapioca Weasel, so yeah.
Yes,
Astro
yes.
Weasels, yeah.
That is also his moniker,
Oh
Astro
yeah.
Weasels.
Yeah. See, you did it. You did it. He's an atomic physicist. Yes. Yeah.
Which, yeah, I don't know. If you don't know who I am, come through. We have fun over there every Sunday.
Kip Davis has written no books.
Okay.
Fact.
Okay, fine.
Kip Davis has written no.
He wrote a book.
It's a pretty
A
good
couple
book.
of books. He's written a couple of books.
You know what? And very few people know this, but I'm actually the reason that he went so crazy about that. um,
Okay. Story time.
yeah, I
Tell
mean,
us.
so yeah, and again, it's more community drama, but like that video was actually making obviously disparaging remarks about Kip, and Kip was like, "I'm not watching it," and I watched. And so it just starts there. It's like Kip has written no books. Kip is, never taught a class in his life. Kip Davis doesn't even, he's never seen the sun come up. It was like these crazy, like everything that Kip has done, he was saying he hadn't done. And I'm like, and so I did just like a clipped like maybe 30 seconds of it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe he's talking about a different Kip. And that's what I said to Kip. But like the very first thing in there was Kip Davis has written no books. And then so yeah, after that, like it was Kip clipped that and was just like, son of a bitch. Now I have
Yeah.
he hadn't finished his book. He was like, now I have to finish it.
Yeah, exactly. I love this, Miranda. This is awesome. This book's for
They need to
kidding.
know it.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, so we've been laughing so much. My dog is I
Oh,
don't know, he's bugging me. So you
are
have
these
to go
new
lie down.
treats? A nap?
You
Ugh.
need to go lie down. You need to go lie down. Go lie down. Go lie down. Go lie down. Go on. You're fine. You've had everything you He's had everything he needs. He's fine.
Look at
He's
you
fine.
your attention, Mom.
I know. It's because I'm having too much fun.
You're laughing over there. You're laughing without me.
Exactly. Now he's lying over here. Okay, silly boy. I did shut the
Yeah,
door.
one of those like Canadian books. Only freedom books, Kip. Only freedom books.
Yeah, we have Doggo Cam, but now he's in he's in the wrong spot. Okay, all right, Doggo Cam it is. Which camera? Oh, where's the camera?
Uh-oh.
Oh, right here. I'm trying to find out. I'm not a professional yet, so this is the way this goes. See, it's just
Oh God. What is that?
what's happened? I don't know.
Camera down.
Oh, it must be my phone. That's weird. Okay, wrong camera. Whoops. Oh, that's a virtual cam. No, we went in this one. Okay. Now he's over here. He's
Oh,
under my chair. Puppy. Here. He's Void.
yeah.
Void doggy. Yeah.
God.
Isn't he cute? Here we are. Yeah.
Adorable.
He's a doll baby. Yep. Yep. So that is Saul, and my dad calls him my shadow. He follows me everywhere. And now he's right beside me, so I don't know what he wants. He usually tells me what he wants. He's a bit autistic, this dog. He knows exactly what he wants when he wants it. Yeah. And if I forget to give him his medicine, he'll just sit and stare at me until I guess. So he's a goodie. Yeah. Okay.
All right, cat out of the bag. Yeah, I was called a cult this Sunday, and which
You didn't like that, did you?
okay, so I think it's adorable that I swept into the skeptic community and convinced a bunch of atheists to worship me. It's a point of pride, really.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, it's because you're the queen of awesomeness. So, of course.
So normally when people we so cold, it's not a big deal. I think a lot of people think I have so many issues, and I'm usually pretty good about them. But my big issue was like with a certain person coming in and disparaging the cult, which isn't, it's a cardinal sin, and you will be ejected. So apparently nobody knows what a cult is. Luckily, a month ago, Marin asked me to do this stream, and it was such perfect timing. Marin, how did you know?
I mean, right? I mean, it's just maybe it's because I get accused of being in a cult as well. So, it's in the air, I guess.
You're rejecting the truth in your unrighteousness.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. So, and I'm so glad you agreed to come and talk with me about this because I consult. Okay, come on. So he's yeah, I consulted the void. Yeah. You're the queen, I'm the prophetess.
Are they not awesome?
Yes, they are. They are. You're awesome. I actually got into following the skeptic community because I was learning about cults. So I started watching that Scientology documentary with Leah Remini.
Yeah.
And it was like amazing. And I also I I started watching Mormon stories and watching all the interviews. I don't know if you know anything about that podcast, but it was started years and years ago by John DeLynn. And he was an advocate for LGBTQI plus,
Nice.
and especially because there were so many Mormon children that were abused and not wanting to stay on the planet. So anyway, but that's how that's a lot of how his podcast started. But he tells Mormon stories, and most of them are deconstruction and leaving Mormonism kind of stories. So I just dove into all of that. So, and that's how I learned about Stephen Hassan, because he was on the documentary for the Scientology, and then also he did an interview with John DeLynn on Mormon Stories. So he's studied cults, and he helps people. He has had a career of helping people get
Are
out
you,
of
are you talking about Rick Ross or
the
Rick Allen Ross?
no Stephen Hassan,
Oh, okay,
who
gotcha.
for the bite model. He created
Oh,
the
okay.
bite model. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
yeah.
guy, and actually, I've seen a lot of the stuff he's done. I think in this community, you may have seen him on Cosmic Skeptic. He has helped over 500 people.
Mm,
Well, he's done interventions with over 500 people,
right. Okay.
and he's met a lot of cult leaders. So he's a I don't know. Whenever I see him pop up in my feed, I always watch the videos because he's a I don't know, like just my innate curiosity of how people work.
I gotta let my dog out. I don't know why he's bugging me. Okay, sorry. Rick Ross is what you said?
Rick Allen Ross, yeah.
Rick Allen Ross. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he
No,
smells.
that's cool. Yeah,
Sorry.
I just was sure you were like
Kids. I know. I'm like,
there's a lot of
just
people
trying not
who
to be
yeah,
distracting. Did that work?
yeah, I am
Okay.
still here.
Okay. So I need to look for him for sure. So that would be good. So, yeah,
Okay.
so that is how
Cult
I actually,
programmer, which could come in handy if you have a family member that's in a cult. It's really hard to get them out, apparently. And so, like
yes.
when you told me, you was like, "Do you want to do cult?" You gave me a couple of options. I was like, "Oh my god, cults!" And
Yeah.
so I have to admit that when I was thinking cults, I initially because like I don't follow cults as much as I do conspiracy theorists, and I
Mm,
really, really follow conspiracy theorists. And
yeah.
my initial thought was like, "Oh, this should be easy. It should be, just doing what do you call it? An easy conversion." And as I'm looking at it, I they are very different, I think, on a base level. Whereas conspiracy theorists largely are self-driven, whereas cultists are usually leader and group driven.
Yes.
um, Conspiracy theorists, I think, are more just operating under, I guess, yeah, it would be more classical conditioning where, okay, I'm in a group and I go out on my own. They didn't tell me to do that. I did this of my own accord. I found something that I think the group will like. I bring it back to the group. They clap like seals, and I get praise. I get that dopamine hit. And so that makes me want to go out and do it again.
Hmm.
Whereas with the cult, I believe it's more operant conditioning. Whereas it's more of like that, oh God, like a punishment rewards um, motivation or behaviors,
Yeah.
because again it's group driven whereas the cults are self driven. And so like
Yeah.
even on the an underlying level of like motivation, um they're very they are very different. And so I think it's
And
kind of
sorry.
like when people see like ADHD and autism, they're like, oh my God, they're the same thing. And I'm like, no, you get the same, you see similar results, but what's going on in the brain is very different. And
Hmm.
so that's what I'm learning about these two things. But I'm really glad
Yeah.
you asked me to do this because going down that rabbit hole has been really interesting.
I'm so glad. That's excellent. As you were talking, I was thinking of the the motivation of the interaction with the group, right? The one of the let's see. Yeah, this is something that I think of when I think of the conspiracy theorists,
Mhm.
right? Like, you know, stick it to the man kind of thing, right? And we know the real information. We know the inside scoop and that kind of thing. And the to me the high demand types of cults is that it's much more the acceptance of the group, right?
Mhm.
Because they often start with the love bombing, right? And you
Yeah.
just feel accepted and understood for the first time, and there's like different personality types that
Mhm.
would be attracted to those two
Yeah.
different.
And yes and no.
Mm,
But from what I'm finding from psychologists is that the biggest reason that people enter cults is because they want that sense of community and belonging. People are more likely to join a cult when, like they've, yeah, I mean, just either shunned, lost, like don't have
yeah,
family or don't have support systems. I guess would be
right.
the thing. And we're very social creatures. So if we don't have that, anybody coming along who feels that need first, we are willing to bypass red flags because we need that sense of longing and belonging. And like you said, the love bombing, especially during the recruitment process, can be
Yeah,
intoxicating to somebody
right.
going like, I don't know if you saw Midsummer. Um,
No.
I like the girl in there lost her whole family, like her sister and both of her parents, all
Mm,
at once. And then so she's taken to Switzerland and, inside of a cult and, they're just this big family and
yeah.
it draws her in. And I thought that was kind of a stereotypical of, the kind of a position where even if the family's not dead, they're functionally dead, like the position that they're taking in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we see that a lot with cults. I mean, and not always. I think with oh my God, who's the Manson chick? Well, that was trying to get out and keeps getting denied. I think there's a couple of them, but
I don't remember their
I
names.
can't remember their names. Yeah, but like one of them was like a cheerleader, and she came from a stable house, but I haven't looked into her backstory that much. But she was also at that age where it's just like, okay, I've done school. What's next? There's this
Yeah.
goal, like where do I fit in with the world?
Yeah.
And then here comes this good-looking, charismatic guy who
Yeah.
says all the things she needs to hear, and then yeah,
Yeah.
it just kind of often
Yeah.
it yeah, and by all accounts, she was well adjusted and normal, and it's really more of that sense of belongingness that we're seeing people want to go into cults,
Yeah.
which again is very different than conspiracy theories. Why people
Yeah.
get led down the conspiracy theory. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I found it fascinating.
Well, I think also like one of the connections that I just got so sucked into the Scientology documentary was because I had I moved to California to Los Angeles by myself in my mid 20s to go to grad school, and just I had grown up in the South, went to college in the South, and
Mhm.
this was my it was a completely different. And I had a community in my grad school with the students, with that, and that was good. But I remember mentioning to someone, I was like, oh, I saw a sign that Scientology, they have like an acting class, and
I hear they are huge in California.
they are, yeah, yeah,
Everybody knows about them.
yeah.
They're like 1 degree of separation from a Scientologist. It's
Right,
crazy.
right. It's kind of it is wild, but and thankfully I had friends that were like, no, that's a cult, stay away. They killed a girl, So it was, but I was at that age where I felt, I would have been vulnerable to it. I feel like I just missed, actually finding out more about it, in the wrong way.
Yeah.
So, and when I thought, Dan, I can't remember that Miranda, the dancer, it was like dancing for dancing for God or something like that. I can't remember, but there's like this TikTok cult.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they did finally raid the compound because yeah. Anyway, it's a whole other thing,
Yeah.
but
That's
I
a whole
just feel
thing.
like yeah that it's like there's a certain that there are certain times in life that you might be more vulnerable,
Yes.
and it's a very human. See, this is a thing I think too. It's like it's a very human thing
Mhm.
to want to have a community and to have like you were mentioning, to have people understand you and yeah. So
And I think that people think that it's like some kind of a mental illness or whatever, and it's like being in a cult isn't recognized by psychology as a mental illness. It
right.
probably it's more akin to being wooed by a Nigerian prince, and just
Mm,
really believing that that's what he is. Like you,
yeah.
this is, again, normal functions of the brain. When you want to believe something, you're, you can do a lot, you can make yourself believe a lot of things. Um, but yeah, is, anybody can be lured into a cult. It's not,
Yeah.
there's not a brain type. There's not,
Right. Right. Because they play on human needs.
yes.
And that's, I think that's part of so it's very hard to leave on your own. And it's also, it's very easy. It would be very easy to get sucked in.
Yeah.
If you didn't know anything about it, right? If you,
Yeah.
yeah,
And usually they employ, like, I don't know, like I have a number of things I wanted to get to, but like they do employ a number of tactics to keep you in the group.
yeah,
And they shoot down your defenses so that you're not, to keep you from questioning the dear
yeah,
leader.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
do see Kip here, and he gave me, it's hard to find a definition of a cult. The definition he gave me was a high control group in a hierarchical, I can never say that, hierarchical structure, organized around hierarchy, whatever, organized around the personality of a charismatic individual or group, which is interesting. But also looking at different cults, the leader isn't always charismatic. A lot of times, the group does a lot of the heavy lifting.
Mm,
Um, and generally, cold start is benign. They, are just seen as groups or clubs,
mm-hmm.
and they a lot of times, like, we don't identify them as a cult until they get out of control or when they're in these end stages. When you think of what was the drinking the Kool-Aid cult?
The why did you ask me?
I'm so sorry.
It's at Jones. It was at Jonestown, and
The chat has
chat,
to
help
know.
us out.
I know, right? I mean, but it's just stuff like that where people are just, we're frolicking, we're learning, and then
Was it called Jonestown though?
was it, it was Jonestown. Okay.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. But I
And
thought they had like
what
a
was the one with David?
Jim Jones. Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Jonestown. Right. That's why. Okay.
Jonestown.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jonestown. And then there
Jim
was another
Jones.
one I
That's what
know,
I was
David
trying to think
Koresh
of.
was another one. He was very charismatic though, but
Yeah.
also one of those kind of hippie things where
Hmm.
it's like free love, man, and
Right.
until it wasn't. Um,
Right.
People's Temple. Thank you. See, yeah, the chat's
Thank
good.
you.
They also have the internet, and which like, I don't have pulled up in front of me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's, you see like leaders like, and all in between where um again, it's want to really focus on, like, it's pulling on that need, and usually it's a charismatic leader, but a lot of people are saying it's just a highly an individual with a high view of themselves, wreaks high neuroticism. I'm hesitant to say narcissistic, but certainly ticks off
Yeah.
a few of the boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. And is able to influence at least an inner circle that can influence, that can do
Yeah,
work for them because they want to be accepted by that
right.
leader. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and usually they'll have an inner circle that does a lot of the heavy lifting for them.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, I guess a few misconceptions are that cults are always religious. That's not true. They're not always conservative.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I
they
think of
come from,
Nexium is one of
yeah, oh,
those.
that was
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like I just heard about that not too long. It was this year.
Yeah. The
Um,
documentary on that is stunning too. It's yeah. And I mean that was supposed to be like, just a business guru that was,
yeah.
people were really learning about stuff, but
And then
it's
he had sex
insidious.
slaves. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah. 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 To the
So yeah, I
branding.
heard he went
Yeah.
away for like 100 years or something. Something that's
I don't know. I hope so.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
crazy.
It
So
was
I mean, yeah,
a lot of crazy. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And again, cults, another misconception is that like cults have to be somebody that you meet in person. And that's not necessarily true. A lot of people get pulled into cults just from watching YouTube videos. Um,
yeah. Oh,
I
yeah, there's that YouTube cult. What is that woman that was, do you know what I'm talking
there was
about?
one,
Can't,
Mother God was a big one. She passed though.
mm. No, this was a younger uh woman who was like some kind of prophetess kind of thing. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, there's so many. Yeah, see,
it's
I
funny
haven't watched
because
them in a while, but yeah.
I don't know if you know about Till Swan, but her name comes up a
That's
lot.
it. That's it. That's who I'm talking
Oh, it
about.
is her.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, her
yeah.
name comes up a
Yeah.
lot when
Yeah.
people are referencing online cults.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Holly got it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. See,
Um,
chat is so smart. They are just like on it. Yeah. Yeah.
awesome.
I got like five right answers. Oh
Yeah,
my
but
gosh.
yeah, I mean, and people just, and we'll send them millions of dollars just from watching them on YouTube.
Mm.
And it doesn't, and a lot of times they can be kind of benign depending on how you define cult. You could even get the insane clown posse to fit into the definition.
Say that
So,
again. I didn't
insane
understand.
clown posse, have you heard of them?
No.
Um, so the whole like magnets, how do they work? It's based on one of their songs. And so they have, oh my God, a group that follows them around. And guys, help me out. I'm sorry. It's the end of a long day. Um,
Oh, okay. So they're just like
the Juggalos. Yes, that's
okay.
the name of it. They
Yeah.
call them
See.
Juggalos. And they're, every time I hear about them, it's never not crazy. Like you can't, like, even if like they always travel together. And if you like just little things like they don't even have to know the person, but if they know that they're in the clique and you say anything that's even mildly disparaging of them, they'll all stop what they're doing, stare at you, and just start like saying family, family. Just like, yeah, like children of the
Wow.
Cornish.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's got to be
by all
wild.
accounts, it's very off-putting. So,
Mm.
yeah, cults. I don't want people to think like, oh, I could never be a part of a cult. Like, it's hard to get a definition of a cult, and it's
Just like it's hard to give a definition of a religion,
yeah.
right? Because
But
there's many
sorry,
different forms.
there's
Yeah.
very many different forms. Uh, I don't know. For me, definition of a religion is whatever the country recognizes as a religion. Um,
Yeah.
I psychologists don't get involved with that part so much. It's more of the toxic traits.
Hmm.
Um, and so when you're looking at people who study cults and yeah, mostly cults, they're looking at what
I'm
are the
sorry.
things that are making it maladaptive for the person in society. Go ahead.
Titan. I'm somewhat responsible for the cult of anti-magnetology. When I found out Tapioca Weasel was an astrophysicist, he's not an astrophysicist. Thank you. I did mean magnets. How the fuck
I
did
don't
they
know if you're going to
work?
win this argument, man.
Sorry.
The chat is pretty convinced that he's an astrophysicist.
He does know a lot about astrophysics, though. I mean, for a non-astrophysicist,
He,
I'll keep defending him. It's okay. It's fine.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, if you know a lot about atoms, a lot of stuff is kind of intuitive. But like he does, like whenever we talk about physics, he does. I can attest that he does do a mild amount of studying for it. He had a conversation with Daryl Frost on cosmology. Like he bought a whole book and studied for that stream. Um,
Aw, that's great.
yeah, just
Yeah.
to make sure that he wasn't doing the field any like a disjustice or whatever the term is I'm looking for there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It may as well
Okay.
be. Yeah, sure. He
Okay.
wrote a book
Okay.
on
Fine.
it. So yeah, now he's an astrophysicist.
Yeah. So maybe I interrupted you. Did you remember what you were talking about?
Yeah, trying to make sure I'm taking off all the things I wanted to get out of the make sure that I covered at least. So I do want to make sure that because in the community, everybody believes that religions are the same as cults, and that's unhelpful. If everything is a cult, then nothing's a cult, right?
Hmm.
And those in the field, those who study it, do make a distinction between religion and cults. And again, it's because there's no set definition on the two. It can be fuzzy where people draw the lines, but
Yeah.
from the different things that I look through, what I've been able to pull out as kind of a universal is that religions have a democratic governance. And so that would even be the Catholic Church, because like even though the Pope like speaks to God, or he's the conduit for God, there is like
Yeah.
a governing body. And that is true for most religions broadly. Certainly when you're thinking about Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, Mormons,
Yeah.
there's a body. And so
Right.
I know that a lot of people use the bite model to apply the cult label to them. That's fine. I'm not really speaking to or from that, but people who make the distinction between cults and religion say, if there's a democratic governance, that's, a check in the religion box. So, and the importance of that is that there's a system of checks and balances. There's not one supreme leader who is God and is above reproach, cannot be there's no question. Like there must be some form of checks and balances. And again, that puts you into religion versus cult. There is some transparency with religion. And so like transparency would be like, where do they get their finances from? How are they spent? What are they doing? Or, like, what are the steps? If they're very I don't know. And again, coming from a Catholic background, it's just like, okay, if you're going to be a Catholic, you have to do these steps to become a Catholic. It's not like, okay, come in here, we're going to lock you in the church, and then we're going to tell you, okay, go over here now, you have to get baptized. And then once you walk in the room, you find out, oh, I'm getting baptized. If there's clear steps, and you're walking into the process of your like knowing what's going to happen. And it's your decision to do that because you want to be a part of the group, not, because they're like, a lot of times with cults, what everybody is saying is no one chooses to join a cult.
Right.
They're coerced into it because of, the shiny bells and whistles that they're promised.
Yeah. It's the high. Is it high coercion cult, or I can't think of the
high coercion is one, and then oh, now I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Low autonomy.
Yeah. 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 So I think just on the same point that you're talking about, what comes to mind is indoctrination. So there's like levels, right,
Mhm.
of that, because yes, you learn the doctrine, and you are a part of the community, and everybody knows when to stand, when to kneel, when to, you're right, and
Mhm.
the responses and everything. So but it's yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
but
that's
it's
all
very different on this on the
on the cold
scale of
side, yeah.
autonomy, and
So,
yeah.
like, leaving, like, if you choose not to come back to church, and I can say this for a fact, and I haven't walked into a Catholic church in like 26 years, and still, like, every year, like, it's Maya's in there, Maya's in those numbers, I've never
Yeah,
been, yeah.
I
So you
think
can
I'm
walk
still on
away
the rolls
great.
actually of Catholic Church.
So, yeah, yeah, if you haven't been excommunicated, you likely
Yeah,
are. But
yeah,
like being able to walk away from the church without feeling like, without having members shun you or make you feel like you're turning your back on God, is another check. And for the in the religious column, so those are like the
yeah,
big four, I think, that where it's like, okay, religion versus cult. And really the biggest thing on the cult thing is like, what I'm finding is, you didn't know what you were getting into, and there's a lot of coercion from the leader and or the group.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think another thing that blurs the lines is that there are like religious cults,
Hmm.
right? And so that's the another thing that can make it a little bit messy in order definition wise, but also just understanding. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Religion isn't exempt from being a cult, certainly,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it's not a deal breaker either.
Right. And I think one of the things that, as we mentioned before about like just human nature, people want to be accepted like into the group. I find that that, this is true in Scientology, that a number of cults that last a long time,
Hmm.
they play also on people's desires to do good things in the world.
Hmm.
So they not only, they're part of the group, but the group is doing, good things. They want to benefit society. Like Scientology, they want to clear the planet. They want to, get everybody on this particular psychological level,
A lot
and
of
that's
cults,
seen as a good thing, and it's
yeah.
playing on that. We have a goal, we have a mission, and
Mhm.
it's a good thing.
Yeah, and so when you think about like, who cults attract, um, you're going to find people who are looking for that. So people who have, it's not just people who are feeling isolated or alone, but also have like low self-esteem, or like, feelings of like general sense of inadequacy, I guess.
Yeah,
And especially if you're traumatized, like traumatized people are really susceptible to cults. Any therapist will tell you, like, trying to do work on people with trauma, PTSD, it's slow.
mm,
It's painful. Like trying to get into making people remember the things that they're suppressing that got them into that state. These are things that they don't want to deal with.
yeah,
And so it's just, it's varying levels of painful. And so if this person comes along and says, I will take away your pain and all you have to do is listen to me, you don't have to do any of the self work. That's highly appealing.
it is, it is.
I get to feel better. I'm doing something good for the world. Dear leader tells me so.
Yeah,
And, I don't have to think about my trauma. I'm not allowed to. That's not cult related. So it's
yeah.
not
And
allowed.
you learn actual like thought stoppers,
Yes.
right, in order to not to think about it.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is just another huge human need. We want to feel better. You
Yeah.
know, like the earth is out to kill us, you know. We've s- you
Facts.
know, I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff out there that's scary and, you know, and just being an infant and surviving infancy is huge, right? There's a
Yeah.
whole lot of dependency and feelings of dependency and that kind of thing and feeling out of control.
Hmm.
So anything that kind of can support you know, having more control over your world, but also, you know, fulfill these other kinds of human needs. I
That's
think
actually a
it's
really good point. No, and I'm glad you brought it up because, I just normally I was thinking about putting it towards the end, but since you brought it up, if there's any parents out there or anyone thinking about being a parent, I want you to think about giving your child as much autonomy as possible, like keeping like a kind of like giving them a lot of rope, which is something I did with my kids, where it's like, okay, I understand that you're going to go out and make mistakes. And I want to have a good relationship with you so that when you're processing those mistakes, you're doing it with me so that I know that you're making positive choices so that I feel better about putting you out into the world. Because what I think a lot of people do, it's just like we're really busy just trying to live our own lives. And then we have these little kids that are looking up to us. And a lot of
Mhm.
times they have problems. It's so much easier for me to do it. Like, just stand back. I got this. Or,
Yeah,
just to tell them, like, okay, go here. Don't do this. Don't do that. Go there. Don't go there.
yeah,
Um, and when that's been your whole life, it, you're not, you're also making people more susceptible to institutions, not necessarily cults, but just
mhm,
institutions like that, where um it's just like I don't know what thinking for myself really looks like. I just want to be told what to do. I've had
yeah,
a lot of people tell me that they were trying to talk people out of religion, and they were like, well, if I don't believe in the Bible, what do I believe? Like, you want me to
mhm.
just come up with morals on the fly? Like, it's not necessary.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
mm, but
yeah,
like, I think if you're a fully functioning human being, like, that, should probably be topping your priority list. And it's
yeah,
hard. Thinking's hard.
yeah.
Our brains don't like to do it. All the more reason.
Well, I mean, one of the survival mechanisms of humans is to not expend too much energy. Did we
Yeah,
have this conversation? Yeah, or
I,
maybe
I have it a lot.
yeah, yeah, maybe yeah, right? Oh, yeah, I learned this from you, right? But like finding a shortcut, finding the right, it's one reason that we can
Well,
misperceive things. I think
yeah,
maybe it
because
was
our
part of
brains
those
are
conversations.
take up a lot of energy, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
calories.
A lot of
We
blood sugar.
sacrifice, just evolutionarily, we
Mm-hmm.
sacrificed a lot to have these big brains.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it does, like, I don't, if you think about, like, I don't know, going to school and maybe feeling sleepy at the end of the day. Anytime you have to exert a lot of thought, it's like almost more exhausting to you than like running on a treadmill for half an hour.
Oh my goodness. As I taught school, you know,
Mhm.
for years. And then when we would have like a teacher work day where we had to actually go and be in class all day, I
Mhm.
was like, oh yeah, I forget how exhausting this is. I need to be a little bit more, I need to be a little bit nicer to my kids because they're just like, you know,
All through high
exhausted.
school, I would come
Yeah.
home, take a nap before I did my homework. Yeah, it's, well,
Yeah.
especially, I didn't know at the time that I had ADHD, so it's
Mm-hmm.
that much harder for my brain to, get stuff
Yeah.
through. So yeah, I was just like mentally exhausted at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that, it's just kind of an indication of like the processing power that's
Right.
going on, in addition to, keep the blood flow going, regulate the blood sugar, make sure, the
Yeah.
reproductive stuff is, up and moving. And I mean, just keep making blood. Like
Well,
this.
and so this is another thing, like when we're talking about uh, these high coercion kinds of cults,
Mhm.
they will also exploit these things that
Yeah.
humans need, that they need sleep, that they need food, like these things are they have deprivation that they use as a
Mhm.
control measure. So that is another thing. I want to come back though to your point about parenting, and
Mhm.
one of the things that I've always said is that, like, going to college is kind of, if you get a chance to go to college, but when you get out of high school and you got to, make your way in the world, but going to college is like learning to live without your parents,
Yes.
without your family. And then graduating from college, you learn to live without your peers,
Yeah.
because a lot of times you'll go to a job and like my first job, everybody in the office was like, 50, 60,
Oh, wow.
70 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like one of two 20-year olds,
Wow.
So it was a very, very different thing. And just like, yeah. So what you're saying about, and it's hard. I think the 20s can be just very
It was
difficult.
brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. In
Um,
our culture for sure.
yeah. And it makes it really easy. Yeah. For like why you're seeing young people, a lot fall into these cults.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just say, "Hey, let me tell you what to do," and you don't have to think, "I'll take care of you."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, getting back to like characteristics, just finishing up. I know that I forgot to look into this. Um, so the models that I hear a lot, like the bite model, aren't really used clinically. I think they have the bitten model, but it's dealing with psychological trauma. So there are
Mm.
things that therapists those use, like the checklist or whatever. Um, but I know Rick Allen Ross talks about cults. There's three characteristics to cults, which are absolute totalitarian leader, blah, um, who is usually the object of the worship. The leader uses coercive persuasion to gain undue influence, and having acquired the undue influence, the leader uses it to exploit and do harm to his followers. But I do want to talk about later. A lot of times, it's not just his followers, as we saw with oh my god, um what was the one cult where they were going out and unaliving different people? The guy just passed like 2-3 years ago, I think.
Th- Not the Manson.
Manson's guy.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I've had
Yes.
so many serial killers in my
We just
mind.
talked about him. I'm like, yeah, Manson.
Manson,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the Manson group.
Charles
Yeah,
Manson. Helter
very.
Skelter. Yeah.
That definitely went outside of harming just the followers.
Right, right. Yeah, the family. Yeah, they called
Mhm.
it. Yeah, the Manson family. Yeah.
But we also so the bite model is also a framework that we use to indicate cults. And again, cults don't have to be toxic. Um, there are like sports groups that could loosely be defined as cults, but again, normally when people are studying cults, they're talking about destructive cults. Is actually
Yeah.
they actually have the term destructive cults.
Destructive cults. Yeah. The undue influence was the phrase I was thinking of as well. I couldn't think of. Yeah. But just a point of when you were talking about the sports,
Mhm.
Scott Atran is I think he may be anthropologist. I'm not sure, but he did a lot of he's done a lot of study on I can't think of the word. Where are the words? Do you have the words? I need some
Or
words.
I was trying to figure out what
No,
you're
but
talking
I
about.
know you have no idea. After 9/11, studying what causes this religious, what is it when you, fanaticism, right? And anyway, what, there's a word, the chat will think of it anyway. But he said that one of the because at the time, this was years ago, that at the time Sam Harris was
Oh, is this zealotry?
yeah, really, yes, exactly.
Oh, sure.
Um, yeah, and extremism. There we go. Yeah. Um, uh, what causes folks to fall into this religious extremism? And at
Mm,
the time, Sam Harris was doing lectures on how evil Islam was, and that that it's just a horrible religion, and this is the
mm,
and I'm like, yeah, but it's not just Islam. But then Scott Achan also gave a talk in the same conference that I was. It's called Beyond Belief. It's a great conference from 2010. But he was saying, you don't understand Islam. You don't understand these terrorists and what they're. He's like, it's much more likely that they're just on the same soccer team. Like
mm,
this is their group that and that cohesive. So that helped with that cohesion, and they felt like outsiders, and so he was like going through this whole explanation of how these young men that
mm.
were outsiders, right? And but they formed this team, and then they
Yeah.
got more and more extreme in their beliefs to where they you know ended up becoming terrorists. So yeah, so that was
And that's not abnormal, like, behavior. We see it a lot with
yeah.
conspiracy theorists, like a lot. And I know, oh, maybe 10 to 15 years ago, there was like this big push from, I don't know if it was Al Qaeda or the Taliban, but they were going into predominantly white countries and trying to get, like, yeah, late teen, early 20s,
Hmm.
um, converted to their side so that they would do the domestic terrorism for them.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
yeah. So the and these were kids, like a lot of them. It was crazy. I remember reading about these three girls that were trying to jump a plane and go either Iraq or Iran,
Wow.
so that they could meet the guy that they had been talking to, over the internet. And they were stopped at customs, and you
Wow.
know, and they were saying that they were. I think this was in England, and
Hmm.
it was talking about how they went through that brainwashing process, and it was done entirely online. It was,
Wow.
yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is. You don't throw that word around very much, but yeah, right.
Yeah,
But that's the thing. It's not,
it's
because
not.
it's
Yeah,
it's it's based on
it's normal human,
abusing these
right? Yeah,
natural human instincts, right? So
exactly.
that's the
Yeah,
point that
yeah,
I keep
and I bring
making.
that up not to say that those girls were crazy.
Yeah, the
I
whole
don't believe they
situation was.
were. Yeah, the situation certainly was. Where I'm just
Yeah,
like, how did they indoctrinating you into, like, just completely being on their side and rejecting everything about your culture, your
yeah,
country, and everything, like
yeah,
that unique. Um,
yeah.
but it's also things that cult leaders do all the time.
Right, right, right. Well, do you want to talk about being called, being accused of being in a cult? Because I mean, when I basically, I guess, joined the community. I started my YouTube channel, right, and I
Mhm.
became more and more of a skeptic, to the point where I'm just pretty much don't really I don't call myself a Christian anymore. And but it's just because of, I really wanted to learn more and more, about Christianity. The more I learned about it, I'm like, oh man, this doesn't make sense to me like it used to. So that's my little, elevator description of what happened. But because of that, and because we were talking about how great the chat is, I get in. chats for your shows and other people's shows, and we get to know each other, in these chat rooms, and then sometimes we actually meet in person as well, and so it is a community,
It is, and it has to be, because one of the biggest issues in deconverting the religious that the atheist community has is that there's no replacement.
right,
It's like just thinking of like basic terms, when you stop smoking, you see a lot of people that put on weight because they're used to that,
yeah,
like, oh, what do I do? I need to do this movement, or,
yeah.
I mean, just almost anything. You can't take something away and not replace it. And that is a big issue here, because there's not,
It is a
sorry,
community.
that making me well, they're making fun of a certain person.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay,
it, to replace the community that people have, and I've seen a lot of atheists go say they're Christian again, and when asked, it's pretty much just like, well, this is my support system, and I have to
yeah.
say this so that I keep getting the support. And
It's the culture. I mean, there's so much part of the culture if you grow up in a religious community. If
mhm,
you are no longer a believer,
mhm,
it's like you lose a lot of that community support, which
yeah,
we're humans and we're social beings, we need.
we need that, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of anti-theists in the community.
Yeah,
And, you can't, for instance, say, just preach for years that, you need to tell your friends, you need to tell your family, this is bullshit. You can't tell people that, we need to cut off Christians. And then, something, just pulling this scenario out of my ass. Let's just say something were to happen at an atheist convention. You can't just say, we need to shut the convention down and not have any black backup plan. We just all need to walk away from it. I'm like, okay, well, now people don't have community.
yeah,
And this
right,
is something very, like, just basic human needs that,
yeah,
if you were to just ask almost any evolutionary biologist, they would say, and it's just innate. We've
yes,
evolved. Like, we've just always, I mean, since before we were sapiens, before we were homo,
hmm,
like this is, I mean, it's just, we are pack animals.
yes,
We would not have gotten this far without being in a group, staying in a group.
right,
And we saw over COVID, like, people almost broke down
yeah.
because they didn't have that. Um, I was actually, I'm an insane introvert. I'm something else. I was very happy staying in the house during
Oh,
COVID.
I loved it. I loved it. But I was
Not the
like,
best,
I was in burnout and I didn't know it.
yeah,
Right. And so
right.
I was like, oh my
It was
gosh.
nice, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was recovery for me.
Yeah, and so,
So,
like, yeah,
but a
burnout.
lot of people, it was very, very hard.
A lot of people, yeah, and we're seeing a lot of, especially with kids that were pulled out of school during that time,
Oh,
um, a lot of issues that we're
yeah.
probably not going to really understand for at least a decade. But um, we we didn't go unscathed
Yeah.
as a nation or species
Yeah.
through that lockdown. And I mean, it would have been nice if everybody had just stayed in lockdown, so it could have been as short as possible, and then we could have opened back up.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go on my COVID rant. um,
Yeah.
we need that community, and that
We
is
do.
so very important. And so I think it really is important that, again, if you are serious about, and I'm saying this to the anti-theists, if you're really serious about wanting to see the dissolution of religion, you need to figure out ways that you can get more community support to people that are coming out of religion, because,
Yeah.
a huge factor in them staying in their communities is,
The
that
support
loss of
it
community, that
provides.
loss of support.
Yeah. 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 I think from an anthropological perspective, living in communities of 50 to 150 for tens and tens of thousands of years, right? Exile was death, right? So any type of, that's why I'm so against bullying,
Yeah.
right, of any kind, because it's ostracizing,
Yes.
right, because that is where these young men that come back to school very angry,
Yeah.
right, which is really 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 troublesome. And younger girls, they bully in very different ways,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that social needs is so difficult. So yeah, so being ostracized, being exiled, that our reptilian brain is like, I'm gonna die, right? And
Yeah.
so it is a, which again, I'm with you about about anti-theists that are very stringent. And because it's not only that you can't, you don't replace it, it's just religion is a human thing. Like
Yeah.
every society, almost every society, like there's like maybe one little tribe way off in the mountains in
The,
the Andes somewhere that doesn't have a type of
the quest for
religious
meaning.
perspective.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Quest for meaning. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And a little bit of control over the environment, that is part of it as well. And like I said, the earth's out to kill us. So, we got,
It is. It is.
right,
It's a real
right.
thing, despite
Yeah.
what other people might tell you.
Yeah, earthquakes and yeah, right, all the stuff. So, it makes sense. It's another reason that I talk. So the people that are able to get out of cults, that are able to escape,
Mhm.
they have tenfold the, the it's a shame almost,
Mhm.
of like, how did I get sucked into this? And
And
but
a lot of
I
times it
see,
becomes a sunk cost fallacy too.
correct, exactly. And
But
why did I stay
they're
so
not getting out
long?
of the cult if they don't have support. Like I have
There's no
everything I
way.
need here. Out
Hmm.
there, I have, if my family's cut me off,
Right.
yeah, much less likely to leave the cult.
Exile.
So
It's the exile thing, because then I'm not. I don't have that support, and I don't have this support, and I can't survive. Right, right. But I also, just hearing stories, of people who do get out, and they're like, struggling with, I can't believe I stayed in that so long. But I hear it from folks who deconvert as well, right? That
mhm.
they can't believe that they, stayed in so long and gave up so much money and so much time. And it's like, of course you did. It's a very human, it's a very human thing. I mean, it is. Yeah. So I think there's just no shame in it. So don't beat yourself up if it took you a while. I'm telling myself that too, but yeah. I mean, it took me a long time. Some people like in their 30s or 20s, or I'm like, oh wow, good for you. But anyway,
Yeah. No, same.
everybody's different. Yeah, they have
Everybody,
different
yeah,
needs.
exactly.
Yeah.
I remember my sister, oh my gosh, for her confirmation, she didn't want to be confirmed. And she was like, I don't even know if I believe in God.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, and I
Wow.
remember thinking like she was just stupid. I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess it was more of a look at the trees kind of deal. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, even at 13, I she's highly religious. I fought my parents on that, and I'm like, you're gonna make her go into the church and lie to God? Like it was just, but yeah, like yeah, I don't know that she's ever been religious, and it
Yeah. I
took me a
mean,
while longer.
well, yeah, it's
Not, I
just,
mean, I don't know. I mean, I to walk away from Catholicism, yeah, it really took me like seeing on paper that priests were, I don't know, the church, like even up to the Pope level, knew about this and was
yeah.
doing nothing. And at that point, I'm just like, how are my morals higher than my church's?
Yeah.
Like, how do I don't know, like how do I walk into this place and you're like my moral authority, but like my morals are, I have better morals than you. Like I couldn't make those gel. So
Yeah, I mean that you can't put those into the
Yeah.
same space, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
So that, yeah, and that's what did it for me. But I
Mm.
don't know. Everybody, yeah, a lot of people, they were just like, I heard somebody say, it's like, wait, you mean there's more than one religion? So if there was a God, like at six, and I'm like, if there's a God, shouldn't there only be one religion? And he's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
bullshit. They're like, at six? That's crazy.
Yeah, that is. That is. Although when I was like 7, a friend of mine told me that, our neighbor, she was our age, but her father was killed in a car accident, and at 7 she told me, well, it's just so awful because he's going to hell. I'm like, what? Well, he was Buddhist. He wasn't a Christian. And I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
that's not a loving God. Yeah. But
I
yeah.
know. I remember thinking that. Remember being sad, like when George Carlin passed and when Robin Williams passed. George Carlin because he was an atheist, and Robin Williams because
Yeah.
so
Right. Catholic. Yeah,
yeah.
it's bad. Yeah.
And well, yeah. Well, no, I don't think I was Catholic at that time, but still
Mm.
very devout, and like they weren't Christian, and well, yeah, Catholics, you can't go to heaven if you unalived yourself. But yeah, Carlin was like a devout atheist. So it's just like, um,
Yeah.
and I remember it like really breaking my heart that they were like burning in hell, and it's
Yeah.
like wishing God would, find a
Yeah.
loophole because I like them both so much. But
Yeah.
yeah, that aside, let's talk about cults.
Okay.
I when looking at like there's a lot of criteria on what a cult is. One of my favorites actually came out of Robert J. Lifton's 8 criteria of thought reform that came out in the 1960s. It was
Hmm.
actually really popular back then.
Yeah, I know the name. Yeah.
And so there's 8 of them. And so the first one is milieu control. And so that is limit the communication, limit the knowledge. So you're getting everything you need to know here. We're not listening to other people. They don't have the knowledge. Dear leader
Mm.
has the knowledge.
Yeah.
And so like if those people outside of here, they're not connected, like they're not hearing their message from dear leader who has the knowledge.
Yeah.
So how could they
Yeah.
possibly be right? They can't be right. Like
Right.
they can't have truth. So that's one. 2 is loading the language, creating a vocabulary, or a pattern of thought. And so a lot of that is like those secret words, like the jargon, and you have to be in the know to understand what's going on. And a lot of times they won't even know what's really behind the jargon,
Mm.
and you can see it maybe like with like a lot. I'm not saying MAGA is a cult, but I know they have a lot of
Oh,
things that flow over, and I'll talk about that after this.
okay.
The consensus is that they are not a cult.
They're
But,
borderline. Okay, yeah, I know. Yes, the
um,
coercion part, but go ahead.
but for what do you call it? You'll see them like talk about woke CRT.
Oh,
Where it's just like, okay, well, what's CRT? I don't really know, but it shouldn't be in schools.
yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
I heard something, and
Yeah.
this is part of the jargon, and I
Yeah.
just know that to be in the group or to be accepted, you're not supposed to like it.
What? Yeah. I
You know,
don't I don't I don't go by pronouns. I don't have any pronouns. Yeah,
I don't
okay.
have any.
But
I love
yeah.
that. I don't have any pronouns. I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
You just said I. Sorry.
Right. Right, yeah, you couldn't even start the sentence without failing. Nice.
Mhm. Mhm.
I have never talked to anybody who's actually said that. Like I hear it like when they're arguing with people online, and I want somebody to say, "What the hell do you think a pronoun is?" Usually they'll give them facts like, "Hey, this is a list of all the pronouns. Do you see I? Do you say me? Do you see me? Do you see you?" Like
Yeah.
you've used all of those
Yeah.
in the 2 sentences you just said, and
Yeah.
they're all pronouns. Yeah, well, screw you. Well, like I really want to know what they think pronouns are. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can think of that mindset where,
Yeah.
no, I've been told this and this is right and you're wrong. And you don't, giving facts is not helpful because anything that you say didn't come from the group. So it's
Right.
going to be wrong. I guess this is kind of new because I've heard a lot of psychologists just be kind of flummoxed with it. It's just like normally people are open to facts, but this new political climate, they're not. So it's being
Right.
studied. But we have known for a while that cults aren't susceptible to facts. So I don't know. Maybe they can start there. But
Mm.
my field, I have a master's in behavioral psychology. So in my field, we're just kind of jumping in the loop now that we have this whole political thing going on. And it's not just limited to cults, which is like very niche field studied, even within behavioral psychology.
Mm.
But now that it's ubiquitous, or a lot of other behavioral psychologists are paying attention. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
So that was loading the language. 3 is sacred science. And again, that's not like spirit science. It can be, but it's not necessarily. It's just that we have the capital T truth. Our facts are unquestionable. And again, it's, it's kind of like the vocabulary, but those are just like the words, the buzzwords. This is like the known, like you can only know things.
Like the
here.
Gnostic. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is,
Or
yeah,
like
we
when
have the
you
true knowledge.
talk to presuppers, like, what is your grounding for,
Yeah.
knowledge,
Yeah. Or morality. What's the grounding
what's
for your
grounding of
morals? Yeah.
morality? What's your
Yeah.
moral foundation? Atheist. It they're fun. So yeah, that's the sacred science type things. Again, Christianity, not a cult. But that aspect of it, I love talking about that because like that's like when you're talking about like that sacred science, capital T truth, like that's that thought process that's coming through there.
Yeah.
Another one is confession, which we've seen in Scientology, where they're taking stocks of all of your secrets and holding on to it so that in case you think about getting crazy, leaving or taking your money from us, we're going to make sure that you pay for it in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, usually a confession. And this isn't obviously not seen in all cults, but a lot of cults, they want to know your secrets so that they can use them against you if needed. There's an interesting one. I forget the name of the cult, but they would actually like, maybe it was was it Nexium was the one we were just talking about, where they would actually drill people about like blatantly tell me your secrets or tell me your fears. And then that would be part of what they used to kind of beat them down.
Teal Swan did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. She's interesting.
This is a question, would the decoupling of the shared cultural landscape be a contributing factor to the rejection of facts in the current environment?
Yes.
Because they don't feel like they're part of the same community. Yeah,
well,
it's easier the us and them kind of thing.
Well, okay. So, and I'm always saying this, the right owns the media. So they're in a different information bubble than we are. They're being told what we think. And so when we're saying things, they're not really hearing what we're saying. They're hearing what they've been told.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
That's that language. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping that.
And I've been trying to get people to stop using their terms. So for instance, when they were like, we don't want CRT in schools, and people wouldn't say CRT isn't being used in schools. They would say, this is why. They would understand that they meant Black history and would use the term with their definition. And I'm like, this is not helpful because you're feeding into their narrative. And like you need to. I don't want to go down that landmine or rabbit hole, but it's just
Yeah.
there are whole parts of the country that have no left-wing media. Like they don't
Yeah.
even watch CNN, which I don't even consider to be left-wing,
Right. Right.
but that's too left-leaning for them. And when your media diet is Fox News, OAN, Alex Jones, we're not even really in the same, what was the, like, we're not in the same cultural landscape.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not. Yeah. That's
Um,
very good. J word. Thank you.
Doctrine over person. So again, when your facts don't match our truth, your facts are wrong. And that can be
S-
both in group and out group.
Say that again.
Doctrine over
Oh,
person.
okay.
So both in group and out group, if your facts don't match our truth, your facts are wrong. And so I think about this a lot when there was a kid that was talking about how his dad believed that, like the Alex Jones thing, that Sandy Hook was a false flag to take away their guns. And the
It's
kid,
awful.
yeah, the kid was actually a survivor of, like he was there in the school that day. And the father was telling him, it's like, no, you're the enemy. That's what they want you to think. And like, it was just nuts.
Mm,
So like, it's that, like, even if it conflicts with your own lived experience, you're wrong. This is right.
yeah.
And you see that a lot in cults.
Mm.
No, it wasn't David Hogg. It was another kid.
That was Florida.
Yeah,
David Hogg was in Florida.
yeah, yeah. Sandy Hook, was that Connecticut?
I think so.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it was Sandy Hook was the one. It took place in an elementary school, and I think David Hogg's, I forget what it's called, but it was a high school.
Yeah. So this one though, like I think I'm starting to kind of see a little bit more about why some people would like to label some mainstream religions as cult because sometimes this happens, right? It right if you're talking about yeah, you're just talking about the child who's wants to come out as gay and they're like, well, bye, you know, right? And because of their religious belief is sad. So, which is so
Mm.
there are like some things that
Yeah,
certain sects of different religions, Christianity, Islam, whatever, that would, you know, that do hold their doctrine
yeah,
over
and
their
like I said,
relationships, which is very, very
and
hard.
like I said, loosely defined, you could get even sports groups to fit into the definition of a cult. It
Yeah.
There's not. And I think part of the reason they want to keep cult loose is because you can have one thing over here that fits, let's just say the bite model, and we're going through, like, you can have half of one category, which,
Hmm.
would get you to qualify for that group, but like a completely different organization could have the other half.
Yeah.
And so they don't have any overlapping, but they're still both cults. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's varying degrees, but you're looking for a multitude of concerning factors. And I think, generally speaking, at least from a clinical perspective, you're looking at maladaptive traits. Are there things
Yeah.
that are hindering your growth and productivity in society?
Right. Right. And the degree to which that
Yeah, exactly.
is happening. We've mentioned the bite model a lot, so we'll probably have to like take at least a glance at it at some point here.
Sure.
But keep going doing your list though.
Um, 7 is demand for purity.
Mm, gosh.
Which, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think kind of goes without saying. Like, you have to be good enough to fit into the group, and then
Hmm.
there's
And it's not just sexual
consequences.
purity, people. I mean, it's not just
It
that.
can
It
be.
is, yeah, it
Yeah.
can be. I mean, and that often is part of it. Yeah. But
Yeah. It can be, and a lot of them require sex. Like there are sex cults,
yeah,
but a lot of it is knowledge purity, where you have to meet the criteria to be able to fit in with the group, whatever the criteria is.
right.
Because you're only enlightened enough to be one of us if you,
Yeah.
I
It's that
buy into it.
distinction of the sacred and the profane, right?
Yes,
And that,
yes,
yeah, and that is very important in this type of culture.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
if you don't hit all of the levels, then you're a liability, and you could sow doubt in other members. And
Hmm.
it's just it's better for the leader to just cut you out than to move further on. People
Yeah.
can definitely be too quick to label something as a cult just because they don't like it. Facts. It doesn't have to actually be a cult to still be bad. True.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Very important. Yeah.
And the last one is dispensing of existence. So the truth is worth more than life, especially an outsider's life. So the ends justify the means, and the cult determines what if the means are just. So again, when we're
Wow.
going back to why do I keep forgetting that Manson? I
Manson.
keep
Oh
forgetting
yeah.
it.
Who gets to
Yeah,
live? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they had to go because we
Yeah.
determined that they did.
Yeah.
That was the only
Mm.
thing that mattered. So um, I really like that because it really shows, I think, a lot of the criteria that when you think cult, that most of them are hitting on. And, if you want to say that somebody's in a cult, it's like, well, all
Are they
right.
doing these things? Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, for instance, am I saying that I only have the truth? Am I above reproach? Am I requiring that, you swear fealty to me? Is there, shunning and punishment when you unsubscribe? And,
This is truth here. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I
But
don't
I
know.
mean, yeah. It's funny too because like we use it in a funny way too, right? Like
Yeah,
welcome to the cult kind of thing.
right.
It's like
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, used, I can't even say colloquially. It just kind of making fun of it, like the Church
yeah.
of Satan, right? Like or the
Right,
Satanic
right.
Temple. It's making fun of this term that is generally taboo. It's
Yeah.
not, I don't know that any cults have actually called themselves cults. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah. 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 So, did we want to look at the what
Yeah.
BITE stands for?
Yep.
Maybe. Okay. Oh, I gotta go here. All right. Now I can do that. Um, there's different places, but Stephen Hassan is the one who created this model, and this is Freedom of Mind Resource Center. But let's see. This we want to go down to here. Actually,
Right.
the bite model, Dr. Stephen Hassan's bite model for of authoritarian control, and that's him. He's so nice. He was a Mooney and
Really?
got out,
Okay.
and then he started studying all of this. So
Okay,
so
yeah. So B stands for behavior control. And so for the BITE model, that is regulation of physical realities such as strict rules, scheduling, financial exploitation, and dictating like clothing, diet, things like that. So you
yeah,
can see here kind of the things that fall into the model. So um,
yeah, control,
regulating the
yeah,
individual's physical reality, when and how, with whom the member has sex. That's actually kind of crazy because there's been a lot of cults that have required that people like who they married. Like you could only marry
yeah,
who dear later said you were supposed to marry, even if you were homosexual and the person was opposite sex.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the cult, but they demanded that some of the men get castrated, which
Mm.
is kind of crazy. Cult leaders decide, whether there's some cults that want women to have as many children as possible. There are others that decide who gets to have children.
Yeah.
Um, Behavior control gets nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see the list just kind of keeps going. So it
Being
is,
torture, yeah,
yeah. Yeah. It
all
gets
of those
really,
things.
really bad. So that's control, that external, right?
Mhm. And then
Control.
information control for the bite model is limiting information from outside sources, using propaganda and discouraging or punishing access to critical information. So I remember watching like snippets of Scientology when Leah Remini was talking about like her parents and how they worked for the temple, like they were in like inside the church, and they
Hmm.
weren't allowed to have internet. And
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
dad got out and was like, "Oh, I wonder what," found a computer for whatever reason. I was like, "I wonder what the rest of the world is saying about Scientology. It's got to be so great because that's
Yeah.
all he ever heard." And yeah, he just put it in. He was like, "Oh, whoa, this is not what it was."
Yeah. 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 It's the current leader's dad,
Mhm.
would sneak on the internet. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
amazing.
yeah, information control, it's really pivotal because generally speaking, they're not giving them facts.
Right.
um,
I need to make that bigger. Okay.
and also, information control, you don't like if they leave and come back, it's really, you don't know what they're coming back with. So,
Hmm.
the only things they're allowed to have are things that you've approved, and that makes
Oh,
them
and
easier to control.
former members, basically, you can't, like with,
Yeah. You don't want to talk to family. Why
yeah.
would you want to do that? They might tell you, they might lie to you.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So compartmentalizing. Oh, and the spying part, is that part of your,
Spying on other members. Yeah.
mm,
Um, which I think Scientology does that too.
yeah. Yeah.
There's a number of religions I've heard will do that. Um, say religions. Actually, yeah, things that science, like things that do qualify as religion. Listening to Telltale talk about, members of the church that would tattle if they saw you smoking a cigarette or
Oh,
kissing
yeah.
a girl that wasn't, a member of the church, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This, I, I wasn't familiar with this, but after your discussion about confession, yeah, the
Yeah.
unethical use of confession. So,
Yeah, that's really bad, and it's
mhm.
almost like if they're like one of the few ones that, yeah, like if you see this, you're probably in a cult.
Yeah. Goodness. Yeah. All right. Then the
So
T
then
is
this
thought.
thought
Yeah.
control under the bite model is implementing thought stopping techniques, like chanting, prayer, meditation, to prevent critical thinking, and requiring members to internalize the group's map of reality.
Yeah.
So again, it's more of like the dogma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like changing a person's name and identity. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Like
a lot of
Sister
groups will do that
Sarah.
too. I remember one group was kind of crazy where everybody had the same haircut. They had to wear the same clothes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like
That's
they
pretty
want
common.
to like, yeah, strip you of all identity. You're just one of us.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's hypnotic techniques. Ah, right. So that is part of the, yeah. And some of the behavior control influences this thought control because if you limit food or sleep, then it's easier to do the thought control, and the
Yeah.
gaslighting and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier when you're in a weakened state, physically
Yeah.
weakened state.
Yeah. Okay. So
And
emotional
then
control.
last one is emotional control, which under the bite model is manipulating emotions through fear, fostering dependency, inducing guilt, and using public confession of sins or shortcomings.
Mm.
So
Yeah. A lot of guilt.
a lot of guilt. Yeah.
Yeah. And
But again, that's
it
break.
doesn't
It's kind of
say,
like I hate to say like the military, but they not to the extent that you would see in a cult, but we've all heard of like you go to the military, they break you down to build you back up. But
yeah.
over here, they need you at a weakened, susceptible state to just follow
Yeah.
the
I was
cult.
wondering with this is the love bombing thing. Yeah, when you were talking about the language thing too, that's one of the things that I was going to say the military, with that, but
A little
because
different here.
yeah, it's not
Not
quite the
quite.
same, but
Yeah.
yeah, but that camaraderie and all that, right? So it's fascinating because there are the positive ways to use these human needs,
Mhm.
right? In supporting family and that kind of thing, and it, one of the things that he used to be at UVA and now he's at NYU. Jonathan Haidt. It's Haight or
That
Jonathan
sounds
Haidt.
familiar.
Um, he talks about one of the TED lectures that I saw from him was like the differences between conservative mindset and more liberal mindset, and
Mhm.
the we have the same moral categories, but there's a different priority between these two different groups. But one of the things that he was talking about was this need to be part of this social group, and he's
Mhm.
like being part of the tribe, and he's like it's fun, and then he put up the sports team, the fans with that have had paint all on them and everything, because it's fun to cheer for your team, right, Kim? Yes, they have fights about hockey.
Right. Yep. It knows all about that.
Yeah, yes, it's fun. Yeah, and I'm an Indiana Fever fan, so
Yeah, I mean they do. And so like love bombing, you'll see initially in the recruit, not that all of them can't. There's certainly a lot of cults where they stay in because of the feeling of love or camaraderie, but it's really it's I can't say all of them do it, but a lot of them do it during the recruitment process, like trying to woo you over into the
yeah,
yeah, trying to get
yeah,
you to come out of your comfort zone and over to them,
yeah,
especially if they need you to move in with them, or a lot of the online cults, will do that because they want you to keep coming back and keep giving them your money.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah, he responded to my talking about it's fun to be part of the tribe. So
so I was trying to think if there's anything that I didn't cover. Oh, yeah. I remember when looking at Teal Swan, they were saying like mythical manipulation is another cult that people get to keep you in the cult. And that's when the leader will use like random or spontaneous events to say, oh, see, I predicted that. Or, this is,
mm,
remember, or even something where they didn't even necessarily weren't even necessarily talking about the thing, but oh, remember I said something vaguely similar to this thing that actually happened.
yeah.
Um, I'm a I'm a savant. I am a prophet, and and it could either
Well,
be,
I actually am. So
and it's usually one of those two things. So the leader is either a savant or they're a prophet. So it's
mm,
either like I'm such an intellectual, and like you can't possibly hope to be as smart as me, so you may as well just follow me. Or
right.
I am the representation of God or speaking for God, and
Yeah.
God gave me. If my intellect didn't give me this information, then God gave it to me.
Mm.
And it's used as like confirmation bias that yeah,
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
where
and it's part of that secret science too. Like they
I'm.
are the most knowledgeable in that, right? And use that. Yeah. So,
Um, yeah, I did
um,
say, oh, why not a
I,
polymath?
yeah,
What
because
would you say your biggest accomplishment is? What field? I'm one of those rare sorts of people that has cult, say multi. I'm a polymath. I'm a polymath.
A polymath. A polymath.
I keep
Yeah, why
thinking
not?
that he would have to be in a like he has to run a cult. Like who would just like want to follow him unless they were like indoctrinated or something? Like
Maybe.
oh my gosh. I kept dig
Wait. Is this one?
follow me from her ghost feet, right?
Yes. Go buy Kip's book and the
Buy the book.
audiobook.
Goddess has spoken.
Um, the disgraced Egyptologist is his name. That's it's like Voldemort. You can't say his real name. No, just kidding. No, I'm blanking on it. I'm blanking on his name right now. I know his name. Come on, Kip. Tell me what's his name.
Falk.
Oh, Falk. Yeah. Faulk. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Saving the world obviously is a common, it's like I have to stay in the cold because we're going to save the world.
Yeah.
Really like seeing a lot of death cults, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
a lot of cults once the end stages of a cult, okay, so a lot of things with like they say Christianity probably started as a cult, end times cult. So there are a lot of cults who start one way. And so if it's like just kind of like that, where it's like the end is near and you need to prepare, that's one thing. But if we're a love cult and then we change into a death cult, get your loved one out of there. Like he's planning something. The leader is planning something. Like if that changes, red flag, act now.
Yeah.
And yeah, we kind of just talked about stripping you right. Okay, and so this is like tactics for keeping people in the cult. Stripping your identity and individuality. If I am part of the group, it's harder to get me out of the group because I'm part of the group. Why would I leave the group? I'm part of the group.
Right.
There's also a feeling of reciprocity. The group has done so much for me, and they're telling me that, in whatever words that I owe them, or something happened where I now feel indebted to the group. I have to stay. I have to repay.
Oh my gosh, that's such a my anthropology brain is kicking in again too, because it's such a ingrained type of sense, right? And in small communities in which we grew up, taking advantage of altruism from others, right? And not having that reciprocity is a really, really bad thing. So I think that's a really ingrained type of human
if
understanding
you think about
too.
how we feel about our families, right? Like you can't just leave your dad now. He
Right.
needs you. Like who's getting you out of that house?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you could imagine, and I'm not saying that you're in a cult, your dad is obviously not a cult leader, but if you could imagine that feeling that you feel, like how, like that's maybe the level that they would feel about, because of all the other things that have gone on there. And that's one of the harder things to get to, because they may feel that way and not, like, if you are doing an intervention or trying to figure out why they won't leave, like, I just don't get it. Like, why can't you, like, even if they seem unhappy, why can't you leave? That might be something that they're not even able to vocalize.
Right. And it's interesting too that the clowns are family, right? They're just, that is just, wow.
Where am I going to go and get that kind of like love and acceptance? And people just, nobody's ever defended me like that. Like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Fear of being shunned is another big one. And I know Telltale talks about that with, and I'm not saying don't at me. I'm a Marin channel at her. I'm playing. But shunning is a big one that a lot of people feel, whether in cults or not. It goes back to a human feeling of needing love and acceptance. And so if
But it's that exile. It's that like,
right,
right? That's what I was mentioning before. Like
exactly.
it's not just, oh, we're social animals and we need it's like it's a gut-wrenching
Hmm. Never going to see them
reaction.
again if I leave.
Mhm.
Like I can't just pick up the phone and call. They're and
Yeah.
I have to live with the fact that they all hate me now.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah. And
and
our
then I let them down, and yeah,
yeah. And that's what the frontal lobes are doing, but what your midbrain is doing is you're gonna die. Yeah. You know. So,
yeah. And a lot of the last thing that I wrote down is like a cognitive rigidity, which I know is kind
mm,
of like a psych term. So I wrote down the definition too. And that's the inability to adapt behaviors, thoughts, or strategies in response to changing environments. And so when we're talking about breaking somebody down to build them up in the way of like the doctrine and the ways of the cult, that is instilling this cognitive rigidity where things are just like black, white, up, down.
mm,
It decreases critical thinking, stunts your
mm,
emotional growth, and yeah, it makes you more malleable to their dogma, but it also makes you more rigid to any information that is outside of the cult.
yeah.
So yeah.
And keeping other people, like that telling on others, right? Like if
Mhm.
being rigid, you can't break the rules, and if you do, then yeah, then the
And speaking
whole
about
group
cognitive
may
rigidity
suffer. And
too, we do see, well, see, not calling the right. Oh, I do need to qualify why MAGA is not a cult. Well, not considered a cult. But I do want to bring up something that I have seen them do. You were bringing it up earlier with like the homosexuality, and it's just like
hmm,
you're not allowed to be homosexual. That's not allowed. And
right,
you'll see this the most with people who are fighting their urges. Like I have to fight it. This is the way it should be done. How dare you be your true self?
yeah,
And that's that cognitive rigidity. Well, this is the right way to be a human. You're being human the wrong way.
yeah.
And yeah, that's
Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
yeah. So
Right.
that's yeah, and just not being open where it's just like, well, you don't if you don't like gay marriage, don't be gay married. Like the cognitive rigidity is what's stopping somebody from just being like, well, I'll
Yeah,
just mind my own business then. Like they can't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, wow. Did you have more? I didn't want to, because I'm like thinking
No,
this has just been
next I have
so.
is just like kind of wrapping up and how,
Yeah.
what you should, like, God, experts' thoughts on getting loved ones out of cults.
Mm.
But if you wanted to like kind of go,
No, I tell me.
oh, like, has it been an hour
Don't
right
stop
now?
now.
It's been an hour and a half. I can't believe that. It's crazy. That
It's so
flew
much.
by.
I know, but when we're having fun, right? But I mean, this
You guys
is
all
like
still here in
really,
the chat.
it's really helping like to like put a lot of this together. I didn't realize I was going to learn so much. So this is really, really no, right. And being able to make these connections between why people will throw the word around, right?
Mhm.
And mislabel certain organizations, right, as cult when it's not this coercive high demand type
Yeah,
of
I think
cult. So
that
it's very helpful.
I am really critical of people who use I don't know, online therapists call it therapy speech, which is pretty much when you're trying to diagnose somebody because you saw
Mm,
two boxes that they checked off over the internet, and now all of a sudden,
yeah,
you're, you know, side chair psychologist, and
yeah.
um, I'm very wary about that too, because especially. Um, what I've said to a lot of people, it's like we don't want to associate mental health with bad people. We don't want to, especially with narcissists. And I
Mm,
can completely understand why you might want to call someone, just pulling this out of my ass, like say the president, a narcissist. But when we make associate, when we can talk about someone and what they're doing without um, attaching them to a broader group, and that is preferable, especially when you're talking about mental illness. So and I like narcissism because for instance, it is so fucking hard, to get narcissists into a therapist office. Like I don't like it's just part and parcel with the issue.
Yes.
Like with who they are as a person to say I need help, that is so freaking hard.
Not gonna happen. Yeah.
It will happen, but it takes a lot. And if you have all of society saying the reincarnation of Hitler is a narcissist, and then they're like, I think you should go see somebody, talk to somebody for narcissism. It's like, did you just call me Hitler? Like it, we just, and again, maybe this is an extreme thing, but like, it's kind of like not near and dear to me just because I work mainly with people with dementia, and I don't like the way that people have been talking about Joe Biden when I don't people really like have no idea what dementia is. It is not normal aging. Normal aging is not dementia. Like they're separate things.
Yes.
But and for me, again, I'm not saying Joe Biden doesn't have dementia. I'm saying like we really haven't seen a lot of evidence of that on TV, as opposed to maybe other people.
Maybe. I'm sorry. My mother had Lewy body dementia, and so when I see those signs, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, when you see them, you know them when you see them. But like I haven't been saying anything because I don't want to perpetuate bad behavior.
Yeah.
And people are throwing out words like demented, narcissistic, schizophrenic, just like they're, or even depression, like people are just crazy and like they're bad people. And I'm like, we need to stop doing this, because what it is doing is for the person that you're not slandering, really. And if you then try to tell people that they really need to go seek help for this issue, and they do, it's going to make it that much harder to get them there. And if it is a narcissist, as we're saying, that's just bad for everybody involved. If they're not getting help for this, if they're not like working with a licensed therapist for this, they're going to keep being having these negative narcissistic traits. It's going to be bad for you if you know them or if you're close to them at all. God forbid that your like spouse or your parent. And for everybody that they have to interact with, their jobs, in your church, whatever. It's not helpful on any level to throw words around, regardless of whether or not you're right. I think we need to talk about the issue with that person rather than slandering whole groups. And I'm going to die on that hill.
Yeah.
Aside, and finishing up before I forget again, MAGA is not considered a cult, though depending on who you talk to, QAnon may be, which is interesting. I've been kind of trying to go down that rabbit hole because QAnon is near and dear to me as a conspiracy theorist, researcher, enthusiast. Just with the nature of like what I do on my channel, it is kind of a passion project of mine in my personal life. I tend to think that they're more conspiracy theorists but I don't study cults professionally, so I'm just going to say both sides, or depending on who you talk to, both sides kind of claim them. But for MAGA, they're saying they're not a cult because in a cult, the leader drives the cult. And for MAGA, they're saying the cult is driving the leader. So he is listening to what they're saying and parroting their
Talking points or whatever.
craziness,
Yeah. Yeah.
stereotypes. He's just saying what they're saying. He's saying it back to them. He's not making up the Proud Boys. He's not making up, the anti-Semitic slander.
It's kind of a wag the dog kind of
yeah,
situation.
and
Yeah.
and so that's why MAGA is not seem to be. It's just kind of like I think Tommy said it earlier. It's just like things can be bad without being a cult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also when I look at MAGA, or MAGA, sorry, whatever, I am seeing people who come from backgrounds where cult mentality is the norm. So like when you're looking at prosperity gospel churches, they have this structure. They're looking towards a strong man. And Trump is embodying these characteristics that they're used to seeing in their savior.
Yeah.
Which again, he's embodying these characteristics. He's not telling them that they should embody these characteristics, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the religious leaders, like whether it's Paula White or Kenneth Copeland, or if you want to talk about them as cult leaders, we could have that conversation, separately.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at these charismatic leaders, this person I trust that's endorsing the president, they're not taking their cue from Trump. And if you could see, like early on, they were just like, I don't know. But then you get these right-wing leaders, the evangelical leaders saying, no, Trump is the next coming of God. And then it's like, well, I trust you, so I'll believe whatever comes out of your mouth. And so that's really more how we get to Trump, from cultist. And so, it is seen as more of a wag the dog kind of situation from Trump to Trumpist. But again, if you want to talk about preachers towards, whether a preacher is leading a cult, I do think that's fair game in many circumstances, but not all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really helpful. It is really helpful because I've used it as a retort.
Me do. And
like, you're in a cult, and
when you're in a cult, and all you know is cult behavior, you're going to go out and act like a cultist in a cult. I mean, when that's all you know. So I understand what people are saying, and I can't say I don't see it or that I didn't see it. But when I went out to actually understand them, I've come around more to the latter, that they're just cultists acting within their mentality.
Yeah. It's fascinating though, because I know some folks who are like followers in the prosperity gospel kind of movement, and they were serious Trumpers, when like long before.
Well, they're being
Trump came
told
up.
that a vote for a Democrat is a vote for Satan.
Mm.
So, I mean, if you really believe that, then
Yeah.
I don't know that we would expect other behavior, honestly. But again, that's not coming from Trump.
Yeah.
They're not being told that from Trump.
Right.
So, which is, again.
Right. Wow. What's a cult? What's not a cult? This.
There are fine lines, certainly.
Yeah, but it's really
the closer
helpful.
you get to the line, the more breaks you'll get with experts. But yeah, I hear you. I think it's fascinating, and especially coming into it from a different mindset, like the conspiracy theory mindset, and just thinking, well, they're all conspiracy theorists, and I'm like, no, they're actually just. It's completely different and also completely normal. It's more like being duped by a grifter than it is.
Speaking of being duped, I tried to join a tapioca pudding cult, but I accidentally joined a weasel cult. I'm disappointed. I feel catfished.
Fair.
I'm sure that's great. Well, I think what you're saying is similar to about calling somebody a narcissist, right? There's narcissistic traits,
Yes.
there's sociopathic traits, there's, but and there's cultic traits, right?
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you're a narcissist. It doesn't mean that you're, a sociopath. It doesn't mean that you're in a cult.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not as cut and dry. And what you said too about conspiracy theorists, okay, that's what we get to talk about next time you come, okay?
Awesome.
because because I while I was watching all these Scientology, documentaries and cult documentaries, I was also on YouTube watching flat Earth debunkers. you know and
Sorry.
yeah, no, I'm like before I found you, right? We never with the kind of stuff that you do, but like, Professor Dave and things like that, because I'm like, I taught science, right? And I'm like, how
Why?
how do
Yeah.
people actually think that the earth is flat? I mean, I know they walk outside and go, hey, it's got to be flat. But I mean,
You know what? You've got to have Vandy on for if you want to have a flat Earth
okay,
conversation. You have to put Vandy on. Oh my gosh, I don't know that any of the flat Earth debunkers would know more about it than he does.
yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah.
yeah, he's fascinated
It's
with them. Is
yeah,
insane.
it's okay. Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to try to get you out of here in 2 hours. I thought it was really interesting too. Getting cultists out of a cult is also very different than getting a conspiracy theorist out of, you know. I mean, so very first thing is and the two things that are similar is you don't want to like humiliation is your enemy. You don't want to
Mm.
tell them you're stupid, you're in a cult, stop, stop being so this or that. You don't
Yeah.
like that. That's not your friend. You want to be a good listener. They need to believe that you're on their side, that you want the best for them, and you have to keep the lines of communication open. Just nothing happens if they don't trust you, if you don't know where they are, if you're not keeping in contact with them. Obviously they're lost to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the things that are very different, and like I was saying, Rick Allen Ross was saying that he's had over 500 interventions and has a
Wow.
70% success rate with this method.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is the only method I'm going to say, so we can get out of here in 2 hours. But one is when you have an intervention with them, it has to be a surprise. Don't tip them off because they're going to tell somebody else in the cult. They're not going to let them out of the cult to talk to you or be around the family. Ask them to unplug from the group. No texting, online searches, like everything goes. Just so they can have time to think. But you want to define a cult. You want to look back historically at like horrible tragedies, like what are the worst case scenarios, and say, okay, well, all these people did this bad thing. Like, does this look anything like your cult? And certainly try to find similarities between the cult and the bad cult, or to say the
Yeah.
bad cult, the cult that did the horrible thing.
The most extreme. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Explain what coercive persuasion is. They may not know. They probably don't know that the tactics that were used on them to get them to manipulate them into getting into the cult. So if you can talk about okay, these are psychological pressures, threats, isolation, these are psychological tactics that people use to dupe other people. Like, were any of these behaviors used when before you moved into the cult or before you joined the cult?
Yeah.
What does brainwashing and mind control look like? Get them to understand what it is first. Like, first, it's just like, okay, we understand this is brainwashing tactics. This is mind control tactics, right? We're all on the same page about that. All right. Now, did they use any of these on you? Like, you don't want to do anything that looks too disparaging of the cult up front.
Right.
You want to, you know, you have to try to be their friend.
Yeah.
Um, and then you ask them, you know, well, is there anything that you've asked the group that maybe they're hiding from you, or something that you would know, something that, you know, you're really wondering and they're kind of being evasive about, like, you know, and maybe you should know that
Yeah.
if you're, you know, going to continue to be there, because that sounds like it could be a deal breaker for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the fourth thing is present research about the group. And that may come out of number 3, which is, and they're saying this could take a couple of days to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what is the research about the group? What is the group's history? How is it being funded? Are there any lawsuits or criminal complaints, or people that were hurt, or, you know, what are they saying about the group? You know, let them, you know,
See the
let them,
facts. Yeah.
not just tell them. They need to see the newspaper article, the filings, the, you know, the
Right.
meet the people, or, you know, whatever, things like that. And it's going to be different depending on the person, because everybody's different. Everybody wants this one, you know, this pill, this what do you call it, the pill that, you know, gets rid of everything, and like all,
Oh,
like, you know,
right. A red pill or a blue pill or
yeah, like that just gets rid of everything. Like, what do I do that gets everybody out of the mind control machine? And it's, you have to know what is important to that person and attack them at that point. And that's why when I was saying, you know, if they feel indebted to the group for some reason, that's it's bad. Like, if there's anything really that they're not
yeah.
telling you, you can't address it. So
Yeah.
it makes it really hard to, yeah, the cure all, yeah, something. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. It's been a long day. Sorry, guys. But I um I can't stress that enough, because everybody wants to know what is, you know, and I hear this a lot, like, what can I say to my family to get them out of religion? All your family members are, you know,
Yeah.
believe things for different, your parents are probably in the marriage for different reasons. Like, I don't, there's not
Yeah.
one thing that's going to do the thing. You have to know what's important to that person. Sorry,
Right.
I know it's hard, and you're going to have to do the work. Um,
Yeah.
if so,
Yeah.
and the same conspiracy theorist and cultist, and, you know, all the other things that you don't want people to do. You have to
Yeah.
figure out why they want to do it and attack that. So
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's in a way, it's the indoctrination, right? An unindoctrination in a way. That's why it needs a couple of days, you know. But
yeah,
the keeping the lines of communication open is just so important, because they're they may be getting abused,
mhm,
and also be ashamed to tell you about it, right? And
exactly.
so, like, it's that, yeah, it's that, yeah, yeah, it's tough.
It
So,
is, yeah. It's by all accounts, listening to, like, from the cultists, from family members, from therapists that are working with them after the fact. It's
yeah,
there's no fun part about it, but I
yeah,
mean, if you get your family member back, it's worth it.
yeah, yeah, that's tough. Wow. Well, I have a question for you. This is Kip's question. So, yeah, when are we going to do this again? So, yay. I agree.
We'll talk and let you know, Kip.
We will.
Actually, have fun. Hope it was
And
informative and not too boring.
yeah, I hope so. Yeah, so you've been doing this, some of these shows with McToon, which is one of the
Oh,
flat Earth debunkers that I watch. So
I'm so excited about that.
yeah, that is awesome. So he put a link in here, some here too. So that, yeah, there we go. So y'all save the link and do all of that. So, so what's coming up for you?
Sunday, I'll be back on my show doing Bad Science Sunday. I believe Grayson will be on, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, good, good, awesome. Oh, yeah, I need to call. I need to get in touch with him, have him come by
He's amazing.
sometime.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So, wow, this is, I mean, exceeded expectations. Thank you so much. Yeah, learning so much, and just being able to make these kinds of connections, and clean up my own language, about the way that I talk about um, uh,
Life.
psychological problems, but also language and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been very, very helpful. So thank you.
Awesome.
So.
I had like 5 pages of notes here, so I hope it wasn't like too
I
like I
mean,
was
thank
doing
you
too
so
much
much for
talking.
preparing. It's almost like you read a book just for my
Cool.
several. Exactly. This is awesome. No, truly, truly awesome. So thank
But
you
no,
so
it was
much.
fun because, like I said, I was going into it thinking it was going to go down one route, and then it's just like, oh wait, this whole different field that I hadn't really thought to look in, and now I'm like, I don't know, it's definitely a psychology enthusiast, and so I'm like, oh cool, I get to learn a new aspect, and it's thank you. I grew too.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so I hope uh we'll do this again soon. But
All
you
right,
guys, thanks so much. And
for coming by, everybody.
I know, thank you so much. And next week, Ember. Ember will be here. Better than
Yay.
Ember. Yay.
What are you
And
guys
then
talking about?
I don't think we've picked a topic yet because,
Wow.
we're
Yes.
not really polymaths, but jack of all trades, master of none. That's what I was mentioning earlier in the chat. So we'll find something fun, but yeah, we'll let you know. So yeah,
I'll,
it'll be
I'll be
fun.
listening.
Okay. Yeah. Listen while you work, right?
Exactly.
All right. Take care. Thanks so much.